Okay, so it's recording. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I have a special video today for you guys. I have Patricia Monna here. She's an expert remote viewer for 10 years in the field. She's also a well-known psychic medium. She's been featured on Gaia TV. So I brought her here for her to, talk about remote viewing. I have a lot of listeners who wants to join courses, where to go, how will they like I said, the outcome of the courses, but I have an expert here who's going to help us, talk about remote viewing, tell her about her stories, her experiences to help everyone. So Patricia, I'm just going to introduce you here. Tell us about you, tell us about your work, how you got into remote viewing and everything.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this. So actually, I was a palliative oncology nurse for 13 years before I jumped over and made the transition into remote viewing. And it's been just over, I think it's been 11 years now that I've been doing this for. And I've had the amazing experience of working with law enforcement all over the world. I got into that early on in my career. Actually, one of my very first missing person cases that I found was before I'd ever conducted a psychic reading even. With that, it was just, it's always the universe in alignment, lining things up for people because it was the perfect place and time. One of my girlfriends who had been teaching a psychic development course, I had stuck around after the class and we went for coffee, and she got a text, and it was a cousin who was in law enforcement in one of the neighboring towns here by Calgary. And a woman had gone missing. And so he texted her a photo of the missing person because he knew that she was psychic and into this stuff. So he asked her to take a look. Well, she couldn't see anything when she got the picture. So she passed it to me, and immediately I saw the couch the lady was sitting on. I knew she was alive. I knew she had faked her death.
Wow.
Right down to the color of the house. That's the beauty of remote viewing. But I was actually, without realizing, that's exactly what I was doing. But yeah, I was able to describe the white house with the green trim, all of it. And they ended up finding her within 4 hours.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Did you know about viewing during that time, or you just thought it was maybe a vision or clairvoyance?
Yeah, I had no idea it was remote viewing. I just thought it was, I can see this. Because for me, when I look at a picture of someone, or when I even do a reading for people, all I need is to look at the person. I don't have tarot cards or a crystal ball or anything. And when I tune into someone's energetic signature, because we all have a unique resonance, everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
And within your energy and your auric field is where all the stories and all your experience and everything is within it. So it's my job to be able to go in and read the energetic signature of a person that tells their story. Everything opens up. And to me, it's almost like a memory where if you went missing in that green shirt with your hair pulled back and that long necklace, I'd find you like that and be able to describe the circumstances and what you were wearing and everything, because it unfolds just like a memory. And I think that it's tuning into that divine matrix, because every thought, every movement, everything we've ever done in this life is recorded. It really is. And you know what? It's interesting because I grew up in the Christian faith, and I know my Bible pretty well. And it even talks about that. It says that there's, a hall of records, and that we all have a book of life.
Yes.
And I think maybe that's exactly what I'm reading, because it unfolds almost like, I know what chapter you're on. I can see where.
Is it like the Akashic records? Is it like you're opening the Akashic records when you're remote viewing, or is it that's totally different?
I don't know, because it's not like I see a hall. It's not like I see, a librarian that's welcoming me in. I just delve in. I just go right in. So to me, it's as long as I can tune into the energetic signature, the energy of the person, it's almost like I can see through their eyes. And I really, truly believe that love is the bridge that provides that level of information between this side and that side. Because I also know that the more you love someone, the more you carry the memory of someone's energetic signature, right? You can do that no matter where they are in the world. You can send messages back and forth to people. Haven't you ever had it where you think of someone and then you bump into them, or you think when it happens. Well, that's quantum entanglement, right? And the more love we have for someone, the more they're going to get that message either hit over the head or just like a little whisper, a faint whisper. But it strengthens that that level of clarity and that power that you're sending out for a message. So I bring this up because when a person is alive, we have the capacity to be able to quantumly look through someone's eyes, taste their mouth. You just need the energetic signature of that person to be able to do it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Their experiences like it's happening to you.
Wow.
So it's remote viewing. I guess what I'm explaining here is a bit different than coordinate remote viewing. So for me, I'm a psychic medium, and a psychic and a medium are two different things. So a psychic is the ability to be able to look forward in time, back in time. One of the coolest predictions I ever did was I predicted one of my clients winning the lottery.
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that. Like, what?
Right the day that she won it. And here's the trippy thing. I wrote down 2 dates. I said November 27th, you're going to buy the ticket. December 2nd, you're going to find out you won. And that's exactly like right down to she bought it on the 27th, found out on the 2nd.
Oh,
and
wow.
$7 million. $7 million.
With you.
Everyone asked me that. She wrote me a kick-ass testimonial, and that to me is worth its weight in gold. Because,
oh, wow.
Right? It's proof that, you know, if this is real, what else is real? So, and I truly believe that the only difference between a skeptic and a believer, it is the experience. Once you've had that hair-raising experience for yourself, no one can take that from you. No one can tell you that it didn't happen, right? And that's how you build on your truth, by having the experience so that you know that something is there, and then you slowly bridge that, right? Because what you seek is seeking you. Spirit is seeking you just as much as we're seeking answers from the other side. They want to give it to us.
Wow. I wanted to ask you, like, with remote viewing, because when I remote view, I know a lot of remote viewers get really scared doing missing cases because a lot of times they think the police think they did it. And I have happened to me once when I was doing a case and I was so in detail, people thought literally that I was a witness or I had something to do with it. And I was like, no, you know, but yeah, so some people I know are so scared to do it because they go so in details versus a psychic medium can see visions, you know, but I always get that little mix up. But I was like, no, I'm just collecting the information of what I see.
Yeah. So it's remote viewing is a different realm of consciousness that you're projecting yourself out into, right? It's the same thing with astral traveling or outer body experiences. That's different than remote viewing. Remote viewing is staying in your body in this moment in time, checking out what's happening in another country in this time, or you know what I mean? It's being able to project your consciousness to be able to view what's happening.
Yes.
So yeah, they're all different. So psychic is different from a medium. That is different from remote viewing, right?
But what if psychics call themselves remote viewers, but they're not, like, they're using clairvoyance? Like, how can you tell the difference?
Well, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of my remote viewing is mixed in with the clairvoyance, because one thing that I know, so I'll show you an example.
I mean, I give you an advantage actually to, you know, it helps you more.
I think for some reason I've just been handed the keys to different realms, and I'm like testing doors everywhere, and they seem to open. I go in and get the information. So for example, so I've been trained by the Monroe Institute with Paul Elder up here in Canada.
I live in the Washington, D.C. area, so they're right near me.
Oh, nice. I want to go to the one in Virginia, the original one that Robert Monroe created. I one day, that's on my bucket list. I will go. So this, for example, was an exercise that was an outbounder. An outbounder is someone who is alive. They are somewhere on the planet. Go look through their eyes. What are they viewing? What are they touching? What are they sensing, right? Because you have to use all 5 senses to get to the sense. So this one was a person who was alive. And she was standing in Lake Eola Park, Florida. So this is what I drew. So normally you're supposed to use descriptive words down the middle. So for example, if I'm seeing that she's standing in front of in front of water, I'm supposed to say wet, cold. I'm not supposed to say fountain in Lake Eola Park. You're
Oh,
supposed to give descriptive words, right?
mhm.
So, but for me, when I tune in, the whole story unfolds. I could see what was in her hand. I could see exactly what she was staring at. So this was the target, and this is what we get afterwards. We have no idea what the target is. It could be a person, place, or thing in the entire universe. This one was an outbounder. Go look through their eyes. But we get this afterwards to see about our accuracy, right? So
Mhm.
check.
Oh, wow. Your sketches are much better than mine.
I mean,
Mine are like little doodles. I was like, I am so embarrassed.
you could see there's the fountain and the water,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
right? There's the buildings in behind. And when you, right?
Oh, wow. That is incredible.
And I even got the temperature of the day right, because that's
Oh,
a
wow.
sense as well. You
Yeah.
use all your senses to get to the six. So there's ways to be, it's altered states of consciousness and energy. It's all about energy. Even when I'm doing a reading on a person, when I'm scanning them. So as a nurse, I used to be able to walk into a patient's room and stand just at the threshold, scan the patient from head to toe and know where their cancer was, when they would pass away, what they needed, if they were in pain, where it was located, things like that, because it's an energy distortion in the field of the person that you're tuning into, right? So when you scan a person or you're even tuning into a target, scan them, scan their energy, find out where they were hurt, right? Missing person case. Are they dead or alive? That is an energy. When someone is dead, it feels like picking up the phone, it's just ringing. It's just ringing. Ain't nobody answering it, right?
Yeah.
It's energy. You can feel that when no one answers the phone. Then when someone is alive, it's a bounce back. You get a, oh, someone's there. Oh, they're picking up the phone. Okay, where are they? Let me hook into their energy, see what they're seeing, right? You get that feeling of aliveness. And that's how you'll know with the energy of the person or the target if they're dead or alive. You can also do it to find out where they were hurt. So you scan their auric field and their body starting from head, bringing it down, and you feel for any distortions within the auric field. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because this shoulder on me is a little sore. And as I was pulling, I was like, oh, I feel that. I can feel that in my field. So if someone was scanning my energy, they'd probably be able to tell that that shoulder's been bothering me. So look for the distortions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But like I wanted to ask, like when have you, I know that you said that you live in Canada, but you also work with law enforcement. How did law enforcement approach you? Did they just, saw your work or just by name? How did that all started for you? That's incredible that you did found 29 missing
Almost
cases.
impossible to work with law enforcement. They were
Yeah.
not to me very much at first. Especially the RCMP, they're very tight-lipped. They never admit to working with psychics if they do. So how it all started for me, again, right place, right time. So that police officer was very impressed with the way I was able to give very specific details, right down to the ugly brown and orange floral couch that she was sitting on. So I said to him, I'm like, oh, I like doing this. That came so easy. That was so easy. Let me do it again. He's like, no. He goes, we don't use psychics. He says, the only reason why that was sent to my cousin is because she's my cousin. And I
Oh.
knew she was psychic and I just needed a hand. But he said to me, he goes, there's a group of law enforcement, a nonprofit organization that was formed by Kelly Snyder. It's out of Phoenix, Arizona. It's called Find Me. And it's all law enforcement. So it's active, retired law enforcement. They've got search, track, and rescue, cadaver dogs, linguistic specialists, handwriting specialists, forensic experts. Like it's a whole team. And on top of the law enforcement, they also have 115 trusted, tried psychics that we were like, oh my God, the background checks that we had to go through, the tests that we had to go through.
Mhm.
And so
You guys, but they give you a case, correct?
what's that?
They actually test you guys before they give you a case or to help? Really? Oh,
So
wow. I know
they
that.
do. accuracy. And this is what I always tell law enforcement that want to work with me but are very skeptic. Give me a test case. So what a test case is a case that they know the ins and outs. They've solved it. They know who did it. They know everything, right? Give me a picture of the person who's missing. You don't even need to tell me the name. You don't need to tell me the whereabouts. Just give me a picture of the person and I will tell you what happened to them and where they are. Yeah. And for example, I just did that for David Pilates of Missing 411. I've been working with him on a few cases and he's like, well, how do I test you? So I told him, and apparently I got like 120% on that case. So, okay, we're doing some casework together.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. So anyways, I got in with Kelly Snyder, got in with the group of Find Me. I volunteered with them for 9 years. And it just so happened that a Canadian case ended up in their lap out in Phoenix, Arizona. A girl had gone missing in Hogsback Lake, way up in BC. And because I was in Alberta, the province over, they asked me if I would actually go there and help the police on that case. And so that RCMP, when I worked with them and gave them all the information, it just kind of one thing led to the other. And then my name kind of got out in BC RCMP. And then for Calgary, how I got with local CPS. So we've got the RCMP, which are the equivalent of your FBI. They're the feds. I do a lot of work with the RCMP, but I've also worked locally with CPS, Calgary Police Services. And that's like your, I guess, Clark County Sheriff's Office. Whereabouts are you?
I live in the Washington, D.C. area.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be like your municipal police, I believe. So how I got on with them was I actually I have a ton of them that are my clients.
Oh,
and
wow.
When they found out that I did missing persons, and just talking and doing readings, I've been invited on ride-alongs. I've done numerous ride-alongs with the police. I've done a lot of cases. So it's not like I do not get paid. So I want everybody to know that I am not an employee of the police or anything like that. I volunteer my time. I would never take money for a reward or even get paid for missing persons. I truly believe that, if I can do this, if God gave me this crazy ability to be able to do something that not a lot of people can do or want to do, I'm going to do it. Because look at it this way. You know what? If my child went missing and you had the capacity to find my child, I would kidnap you until you found my child. I would. So it's my way of paying it forward, because you never know. And it's easy for me to be able to do this stuff. So
I think the only problem with people, like I said, I've been in the crime community, and it's so hard to get the police or law enforcement, because all you can do is just submit tips. But the thing is, so there might be skeptics, or I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the law enforcement. I respect them, but I just noticed could it just be ego, or they just don't want help, or from the psychics or from the remote viewers? Because I feel like they feel more comfortable working with remote viewers than mediums. I just noticed that the difference.
Because they know me as a psychic medium.
Yeah.
I've been doing remote viewing for a long time, but I didn't put that on my website. It said psychic medium for the longest time. But it really depends, because each officer is different, right?
Yeah.
And so I only work directly with law enforcement or the immediate family. I would never do, someone go, oh yeah, we got someone missing in my community. Would you mind giving a hand? Because it takes a lot of time.
A reason for that?
What's that?
Can you give a reason for that? Why you don't work with?
Yeah.
I just want to hear your opinion about that. That's a good question, because I always get that a lot.
So it takes a lot of time to do what we do and to be able to come up with Google. So what I have to do is I have to take what I see in here, and then I have to plot pins on Google Earth of where the body is or where they need to go and search. So the reason why I only work directly with law enforcement or the immediate family is because they're the ones that can get the coordinates into the hands of the people that can actually look. Because
Yeah,
if it's someone who's curious or a cousin of a cousin, they're not going to be able to get my coordinates into search and rescue's hands. And if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to take my time out of my busy day to do this, you better be doing it on your side too. So I make darn sure that the police officer in charge, and here's the thing, even if the immediate family call me in, I ask for the officer's information who's in charge of the investigation, and I speak with them because there's no point. If the police are refusing to go out and look, or if the family doesn't have the resources to get out there and look, my coordinates are as good as useless, right?
yeah.
Person won't be found. So it's very important that they get into the right hands. That's why I only work directly with police or the family. So I'll give you an example of
Sure.
what one of the things that I did. So in 2015, May of 2015, I was called in for by Wimberley Search, Track, and Rescue to help with the floods that happened. A river overflooded, and there was a house on stilts that was right by the river, and the whole thing went down. And 8 people went down with the house. And yeah, it was bad. So I told them right from the get-go, I said, you know what? I'll be able to find 6, not 8, because 2 of the people, I can't find their signature. They're gone. And to this day, 2 out of the 8 have never been found. But here's a good example of what I do. So this one says, it was stated the little boy was found on the Blanco River close to Water Park Road. The psychic appears accurate. Her pin's yellow, mine red. So, and this is from Search and Rescue. So
wow.
I told, and that's where the bodies were found.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
But that's the power of remote viewing.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Have you what if the family can't get law enforcement to help them for some reason? Have you worked with clients just with the family to help find the bodies or to locate? Can you do that, or you have to need the law enforcement to help too?
No. It really depends. Like, for example, I just found a young lady in Hamilton Bay, Ontario, where I told her parents, I didn't speak to the officers on that one because the parents were actively out there searching for her. And I told the parents that she would be found at the 11th pier of the bay. And sure enough, she was found there, but she wasn't found by police. She was found by someone who worked in the area that was walking along the bay. And
wow.
Yeah, so sometimes it isn't even search and rescue that finds them. Sometimes it's a random person, because if a body is in a lake or a river, they could be stuck and then all of a sudden float up, right? So it really depends.
Patricia, talk about also what other, I know you do workshops on your website. I'll put Patricia's YouTube channel link and also her website on the description box. So I just want to know about your website, your workshop that you're planning to do. I believe there's one coming up soon in the summer, I believe.
Yeah, so I've got a few of them up. I normally do a new moon meditation and a full moon meditation, and I bring in the angels, and you can literally feel the DNA upgrades and the healing that takes place when we do these meditations. It's very transcendental with the meditations that I do or that I offer. And then I'm teaching psychic development. I'm in the middle of one right now called Quantum Psychic, Decoding the Matrix. And it's such a hit. I've got 165 people on that in that class. So I'm going to offer it again in the fall because there was a lot of people that found out about it halfway through and they're like, oh, and I'm like, no, we're halfway through. So wait until the fall. So I'm going to offer that one. I believe it's starting July 28th and it goes for 4 weeks. I'm also teaching one called Quantum Healing because I think because it's so important that we heal and let go of our blocks that prevent us from our psychic senses. We have to heal. We have to know what our resonance is and what our energy is if we want to read and understand another person's energy, right? Because it's very confusing and you go, okay, what's mine? What's theirs? Right. And when we're affected by the collective energy that's even out there, it can get very confusing. So I'm decoding that for people and helping them to step into that higher realm of healing their DNA. So it'll be a good one.
Oh, wow. Do you do it in person only, or will it be also online as well if people can't attend or, go to Canada or?
Well, I do normally offer them in studio, but the blessing of this virus for me has been putting me online because I never thought of teaching online. That's why I was saying, like, I don't even think I have very many followers on YouTube because I never thought of doing this online. So
Yes.
now all the classes that I'm offering are online. Um, Sorry. Where did you go? Hang on. There you are. Sorry. Someone decided to call me. But yeah, I'm offering all my classes online currently.
Okay.
So until all the restrictions are lifted. But even then, I will still offer them online because I love how connected we are all with the internet. Because when you meditate, together and you're breathing as one, even though you're all the way in the States and I'm all the way up here in Canada, you can feel the energy of the
Oh,
circle that we quantumly create. It's pretty cool.
I wanted to, Patricia, I saw your studio and I posted immediately on my community page. I never see anything incredible like that. And I felt like my whole body was tingling with so much sensation. I could just feel every chakra. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can just feel the room and the crystals. How
Cool.
long did you do that? Like putting the crystals on the wall and the pyramid. Did someone build that for you or you ordered? I
Oh,
just, yeah, we're
yeah.
all curious about that.
I downloaded that. I built that. So
Oh, okay.
one of my friends had built a meditation pyramid, and I was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea for my meditation studio." But I didn't know how to build it or anything like that. I didn't ask him even how he built it or anything. And then just one night I was meditating and the whole instructions, it was like it was put inside of my brain and I knew exactly how he made it. I knew how I needed to make mine and make it different than his so that it was vibrating differently. It's just, yeah, I downloaded it and all the rods, all the copper rods are filled with crushed crystal. Yeah, and then it was like, okay, it needs a crown. So I decided to do a whole bunch of crystals on top. It's actually a healing Reiki cone that amplifies energy when you're doing Reiki. So
Mhm.
that's what's sitting on top with all of the crystals.
So you do you sit underneath the pyramid and do, oh wow.
Yeah. And then on the full moon and the new moon, I actually do my meditations from there. I do the singing bowls underneath it while we're meditating. And you can feel it. Like I said, it's all quantum. It's by intention. What you focus on expands. So it's almost like you're right there in studio with me. But yeah, I do it live from the pyramid.
Oh wow. And can you tell me your experience with the Gaia TV? Were you, I know you said you were doing remote viewing with Gaia TV. How was that experience?
Well, that was a
Remote
little
viewing.
honest with you, a little weird. The Gaia compound is filled with amazingly huge crystals that are programmed and you can feel it. You even go near these crystals and it's radiating like huge crystals. Um, Everyone there was amazing, really, really kind people. And yeah, I'm actually on 4 episodes. Apparently, my one episode where I'm on George Norrie talking about remote viewing is coming out May 5th. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it got pushed back. It was supposed to be back in December, but with everything that's going on, it got pushed back. So hopefully May 5th, but I'll post it on my Facebook and on my website and everything. The link to be able to watch that. So yeah, George Norrie Beyond Belief was about remote viewing, and then they had me back on with Jason Shurka. So Jason Shurka presented a document called the Pyramid Code,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually had me remote view it, and I didn't know what I was remote viewing. They just gave me coordinates, and sure enough, I was remote viewing this document, and yeah, it's true. What's in this document? With Jason Shurka. You'll have to look on his channel for the
Yeah.
pyramid. Um, yeah, I saw it. Like they had part of it was to remote view what was under the Dome of the Rock, and I was able to tell them all about the staffs and the statues that were down there and the energy of it. Yeah, so they had me on there for that. And then they also had me on remote viewing for cosmic disclosure. No, deep space. Sorry.
Oh,
Deep
fun. Yeah.
and they had me remote view the Nazca mummies, and they had me remote view the Nazca mummies, and it wasn't the pyramids. It was the Nazca mummies and something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I remember one of the Nazca mummies was actually fake. I remember. Yeah. I'm going completely blank. The Nazca mummies, and I've done so much remote viewing for them now, on and off camera, that I get it. Yeah, I know that the pyramids were one. Yeah, and how they were built and everything. That's trippy. Have you gone back in time yet with your remote viewing? Have you found out?
Atlantis. I guess my favorite was Atlantis. What I did, I haven't done the pyramids yet, but I've done like Mars, and the moon was actually pretty cool. I'm soon going to be doing Saturn and also the Ezekiel wheel. Those were one of my requests, but I had some bad experience going in certain stuff that I shouldn't have gone. Like when I was doing a remote viewing, I just had a lot of like spiritual attacks, things like that. But I was protecting myself. I try to protect myself every time. So I'm always trying to be careful. But there's things what I saw, I was like, am I really seeing it? Because sometimes like, is that like, imaginary, or am I really seeing this? Like, because when I was on the moon, there was like water and there's all these, like this, like Tulsa, like this energy building structure, and Mars had this lost city and pyramids, and it was just in underground tunnels. It was so much. And I'm like, oh my God, I was just so shocked from everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it's interesting you say that, because Mars was one of my targets as a student at the Monroe Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a video. He's like, okay, I'm going to show you a video in 20 minutes from now. What is it? What are you going to watch? And the video was of an American rocket ship taking off into space, and then it splits off. One part of it lands on Mars and the other part of it gets lost in space. Mm-hmm. And then it opens up, and it's the Mars rover.
Oh.
And to me, like I said, the whole story unfolds, right? So check this out. So there's the rocket ship, and I knew red, white, and blue. I knew it was American. The rocket ship going off into space. And then I even described the little Mars rover with the camera on it. Walks, crawls along the craters. Yeah, I knew it was all outer space, Mars. It's neat how we can do this. It's being able to project our consciousness. Is what.
Have you ever met ETs while remote viewing?
Have I ever what? Sorry?
Have you ever met any ETs while you were remote viewing?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that, because my good friend Lisa, who's a psychic as well, she said to me, she goes, Patricia, you start hanging out with these people from Gaia and you're going to start seeing aliens. She goes, don't alien people. And so I'm like, whatever, Lisa, like you got to believe in it, right? Yeah, I've had experiences now that I wish I didn't. I'll put it that way. The stuff that I experienced was not good. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel angelic. It didn't feel like it was here to help the planet in any way. I watched someone shapeshift in front of me, and it wasn't good. It didn't feel, it felt demonic, to be very honest with you. It didn't feel good. So I'm away from realms that could get me in trouble in any way. I don't mess with any darkness. I've never touched a Ouija board or tarot cards or anything like that. I literally, I may have a bit of a potty mouth in real life, but I spend about 90% of my day in prayer. I do. Yeah. I know the power of the mind and the subconscious mind, and I need it to be as high, radiant, and vibrating as I can if I want to be able to do my work, right?
Yeah. Well, the question I also have for you is how do people I get people like, well, do you prefer people who wants to work in remote viewing? Like, what should we do? Like, do you prefer people to self-study, like I know you can buy books and courses and, do self-teaching, or do you prefer people who is very dedicated, very committed, to take courses? Because I heard people have bad experiences with certain courses. They were very, they weren't, they were just like very sad because they weren't doing well with the blind targets and they just gave up. But like, how much experience do you need to really develop, remote viewing, and what can people do to sharpen their abilities?
Well, it is definitely like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And just like any talent, the more time and effort and energy you put into it, the more you're going to experience, right? Because my readings and what I see now compared to what I did 10 years ago, it's completely, it's like looking through and then looking through this, right? But that took years to be able to understand what spirit was trying to say and what I was seeing, right? But it's just like it says in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And so is remote viewing. You have to go within if you want to go out. You have to. Same thing with astral traveling. You have to convince your body that you are more than your physical body, right? That these are just barriers that we can blast through so that we can go and experience higher dimensional realities. So it's, how do I explain?
Is it like time traveling? Can you say remote viewing is kind of like time traveling?
It is. Astral traveling. Astral traveling is time traveling too, because there really is no such thing as time in that dimension, right? So you can study all you want and not go anywhere with it too, because I think part of it is a spiritual path as well, right? Because fear completely blocks us. If you're scared to go into other dimensions and look at this stuff, don't bother trying, because you'll just attract yucky stuff that makes you more filled with fear. That's how this stuff works. You have to go in there with courage, knowing who you are, knowing how to stand in your power, knowing your light, right? And so that's self-development. So I think that the more people get to know themselves, you have to know who you are so you know who you are not, right? You have to know your energy and the way spirit shows itself, even with remote viewing, how that shows up for you. There's ways to be able to decipher those messages quicker and clearer. Sometimes it takes time, meditation, quietness. The other thing, like if you're stuck, we'll say working on a case. Sometimes I do my best work in the middle of the night, right? Because nothing else. It's if the noise is loud all around you, if I'm worried about bills and I'm worried about my husband and I'm worried about my kids, there's no way I can remote view or even tune in. It's just hard when other channels are noisy. You've got to turn off those other channels if you want to be able to tune into the one you're looking for, right? Because everything is running. We are sending and receiving signals all day long, right? So, I guess it depends on so many factors on what makes a good remote viewer. But the more you delve into it, the more it comes.
So do you recommend people to really take courses just like or really just depending on the person, how they feel about it?
Well, remote viewing in itself is a systematic approach to psychic phenomenon. So that there's an actual guide and teaching structure to remote viewing. I think it definitely helps if you have the natural ability and you can tune in and you've got those psychic senses. But remote viewing can be taught. So it isn't, remote viewing isn't just a natural ability. Anyone can do it, but it helps more if you have the natural ability.
Okay. Do you recommend with the meditations as well, or crystals? Like, what can we do just to help to prepare for a session? If we're going to do any kind of mediumship or channeling or, RV, what do you do and what would you recommend for people just to get themselves prepared?
So binaural beats, you've heard of that, right?
No, I haven't.
Really? Oh, you're going to love this. Okay, you should write this down.
I did buy the cabin set you told me. I got it. It was this tiny. And I was like, I loved it, but I had trouble connecting with it. So, but it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Why is it like this? I didn't know.
That's all you need. That's all you need is a tiny little piece of it. And before you know it, if you can find one of those little gemstone cages, that sit on a necklace, wear it around in a gemstone cage, and your whole body will start to vibrate the same way you can kind of feel the fuzzy buzzy feeling on your fingers after you touch it. That's the energy imprint of the stone being left on your fingers. So put it around you, and you'll feel it. I never wear jewelry unless they're raising my vibration. Like even this piece is Kate King Jewelers. She's local here in Calgary, and it's all about frequency, raising your vibration. This one is all about healing and soothing and love. So yeah, anyways, you got to wear stuff that raises your vibration. Even this is hematite and selenite.
Yes.
Yeah. Unless it does something for me. Where were we? Sorry.
We're saying recommendation, like, meditation, prepare for a great session. Usually I have that habit. I have lots of fire in my chart. It's hard for me to sit and meditate because I still have a lot of Pisces, Mercury and Pisces, and my head just goes away. It just goes in and I just can't hold still and just, meditate. So I have to exercise. That's the only way I can do it.
And that's great. Exercising, it gives you that runner's rush. Runner's rush is that theta state, right? So binaural beats, that's where we were. Binaural beats, what they are there different theta tones that you can listen to that put you into that brainwave state so that you can tune in. And like there's ones for sleep, there's ones for relaxation, there's ones for joy and happiness, vitality. Just go on YouTube, put in binaural beats, remote viewing frequencies, and you'll find a bunch of them. Listen to that when you're trying to work on a target, and trust me, it'll put you right into that deeper brain state without having to really, really work at getting into it. It's one of those little tools that get into the meditation, so you don't need to sit there for an hour trying to, ohm it out. The other thing, crystals, like I was saying, crystals definitely help. Anything that helps to raise your vibration, that's what you want, right? So the other thing too, if you're stuck, you need to get out of your left brain logic. So different ways to do that. Anything that's on autopilot that you can allow your mind to daydream, because that's the remote viewing state, is the daydream state, right? So wash your dishes, drive your car, something you do on autopilot where your brain can go this way, but you're still focused on what's in front of you, right? That's the brain state that you can want to be in when you're doing remote viewing. So little things like that, and working out, running, jogging, getting into that runner's rush, that state of mind. That's exactly the theta state that you want to be in when you're doing this stuff.
Okay. And I had a lot of people, they really loved one of your necklace on your picture on your website. I think it was a purple amethyst you were wearing, and everybody to know if that was made or that was from the same store. It was jewelry. It was so beautiful.
Kate King Jewelers she's a really good friend of mine as well. We usually teach a couple courses together throughout the year. She's amazing. What a beautiful soul. She has the most beautiful high vibrational jewelry you will ever find. And it's all gorgeous like this. But yeah, that one I believe that was a pink sapphire.
Pink.
Okay. Yeah, sapphire. And I think that one was from her goddess line. You should check her out. KateKingJewelry.com. She's got, and it all, like, there's some pieces, like this one gave me it felt like I was being wrapped in a beautiful warm blanket of love. The second I put it on, I could literally feel that golden shift. So her pieces are legit. They'll raise your vibration.
What is your favorite crystal, Patricia, to work with when you're doing your work?
Cavensite, by far. Cavensite. I literally bought out every piece that I could from the guy who introduced me to it, because it's the first piece I could actually feel. Besides Kate's gemstones, Cavensite is I don't feel rose quartz or clear quartz.
With Cavensite, I tried to connect and it was so hard to feel. And I was like, okay, I did clear it. But I'm still having so much trouble to connect with it.
So you know what you should do? Put it in your receiving hand. Just go like this, lightly, roll it around in the tips of your fingers, and then put it in the other hand and still feel. You'll still feel like it's sitting in your fingers because it's got such a strong vibration. It's almost like it gives a fuzzy buzz feel. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. And if you can't feel it just by holding it, try wearing it around your neck in a little cage and you'll feel it. Even that tiny little piece, you'll feel it.
Oh, I will do that. I also wanted to know, have you ever had, like with my problems in remote viewing, I know other people, what do you do when you have like contamination or like interference with your remote viewing? Sometimes you'll, like I was doing a remote viewing and I'm always going to Antarctica. And I was doing it, I didn't know I was in Antarctica because there was trees. And I was like, wait a minute, is this Antarctica? And then, because in the beginning I was like, okay, there's trees, there's mountain, there's glaciers. And I was doing like my March report. But in my head, I was like, oh, like I know where I am, but is it Antarctica? Because wait a minute, there's no trees grown in Antarctica, but is there? So then that kind of threw me off. So I was like, oh, okay, what do I do?
Okay.
So I don't know if you had that as well in your work when you were remote viewing, and then you had something, but it was like a contamination or AOL incidents, you know, so that's my issue when I remote view and then I'm picking up something that's interfering.
I mean, everyone's different on how to deal with it, but if I see a block, I'll come back to it. I'll disconnect and come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because the worst is trying to clear something that you see. And then that becomes all you see is that distortion, right?
Yeah.
So I'll disconnect, clear my energy, do something different, and then come back to it.
So basically with remote viewing, you're not trying to guess what it is. You're just pulling information, correct?
Yeah, you're not supposed to guess what it is. Well, because your brain wants to go to what it knows, but what if it's something that you've never seen before? What if you don't know, right? So we'll say I'm remote viewing and I see a red barn over here and a blue dumpster over here. With remote viewing, you're not supposed to say red barn, blue dumpster. You're supposed to say it's wood, it's tall, it's hollow on the inside. With the blue dumpster, you're supposed to go, it's cold, it's metal, it's on the ground, it's 7 feet tall. You're supposed to use the descriptor words, right? Yeah. Because what if it's neither? What if your brain went there, but that's actually not what it is at all, right? So you're not supposed to actually name what the target is. You're supposed to describe what the target is.
But you can't say I feel ice or anything like that. That is okay to say.
Oh yeah. And for me, I mean, that's the way I was taught, but that's not the way I do it. I see the whole story unfold. So I remember one of the targets was the Titanic, and immediately the minute he's like, "Okay, go," I'm like, "Titanic, I'm drowning." I know exactly, it's a Titanic, and he's like, "Shh, Patricia," and
I was like, that's Antarctica. And they're like, no, you're not supposed to guess. And I was like, I'm sorry. It's like, that's my clairvoyance coming in instead of my remote viewing. That's the issue I have, because I kind of guess where I'm at. They're like, you can't do that. You have to like delete it or disconnect. And that's, like I said, I'm trying to improve that, but it's so hard because I have my psychic abilities interfering, you know, so my teacher was always yelling at me for doing that.
Well, and it's even like with a missing person case, I try never to watch the news just in case there does.
Yeah, I never did. Yeah.
Because then if I have a preconceived notion in there, that's basically all that I'll be able to see. So the least that I know about a missing person, the better.
Do you connect with the missing people, families after they're found, or?
I have, yeah. I actually have a beautiful plant in my corner in my studio that's from one of the moms. So yeah, it's when you work together in a big capacity, because there's some families that I worked with for months before their loved one was found. They become like family. You become pretty close, and there's a bond that is created. So yeah, I'm blessed to have
attached to a case, or do you sometimes have to like disconnect from that as well? Because when you're doing this in cases, you see really terrible things. Like, what do you do? How do you clear that away?
Well, see, I think that the universe was kind of setting me up to be able to do this, because that's where my nursing comes in. I've seen some pretty gory stuff. I've had to, work on some pretty gory wounds and stuff. So to me, I don't get grossed out very easily. I don't get spooked out very easily. And the way I view it, it's almost like going through a memory. And so I know it's not mine, and I view what's happening. I choose not to feel and experience it. I could if I wanted to, but why? When I can the bird's eye view and then just describe what's happening and where they are, right? So it all depends. I think everyone has their own way of being able to tune in, and some people feel like they actually are experiencing the trauma. I don't go there. I don't need to. Seeing it on the screen is good enough.
Yeah, because when I do look into missing cases and afterwards I get so attached, and I feel like as an empath as well and everything, and I always get really horrible like headaches in the back of my head all the time when I do way too much remote viewing or anything. I just have really bad side effects from it. Yeah, so attached to it, to the energy. So
then the question becomes, what do you do to clear your energy after?
See, that is the problem. I tend to be lazy on that. So I was like, I just finished the session and be like, okay, I'm done. And then after hours, I'm like, okay, I'm so depressed. I'm sad. I shouldn't have done this case. I shouldn't have gone so deep into it, So then one of my good friends like, well, did you kind of disconnect afterward? Did you do anything? I was like, no, not really. That was my own fault. So
something like saging your space. Like this is my office that is separate from my house. I would never do readings in my house. I don't bring it's just other people's energy. I don't bring it into my house. So even remote viewings and stuff, I tend to do it at my office. Well, I've got grids all over my office, grids of light and selenite everywhere. You can probably even
that's so
right under there, and there's one under my other chair. So I mean, like I've got my place really gridded out so that anyone who walks in here, it literally feels like you're going through a beautiful shower of light when you walk in, and then a shower of light when you walk out. You feel 10 pounds lighter when you come into the studio. But I did that on purpose. That was the intention that I set up when I created my studio.
Mm-hmm. When you talked about the fingerprints, we all have them, correct? We all have intuition. I wanted to say, what was that? So what can we do for people who really wants to work on their intuition? Because I know you said we all have it, and with the fingerprints, is that certain people who have stronger gift, or is it something you just have to work with? And I know everyone has their own journey, but what can people do as well, to feel confident in when they're reading or channeling, because I meet a lot of people who are so scared to do readings, or because they're like, well, what if I'm wrong? Or if I do a missing case, what if they were, still alive, this and that. And I just tell them, usually you just have to be confident. And eventually it does develop, but it's sometimes it gets really difficult for people to put themselves out there, like on YouTube, like I did. It took a while for me to get used to.
Well, and what if you're wrong? I've been wrong before, and it is devastating. It's humiliating. It's devastating. It's, oh my God, how was I wrong about that? But you become, I don't know, for me, it's very seldom that I'm wrong. I think I've only been wrong in all the cases that I've done, and I've done a lot of cases. I think I was wrong on maybe 4 cases.
Yeah.
So that's excellent stats, right? I've been wrong. Right enough that they use me on a professional level. Okay. But what if you are wrong, right? Mm-hmm. You will never know how amazing your ability and your gift is unless you try, right? You'll never know. So I encourage people, I wouldn't say get into the missing person case stuff right away. I would say develop your abilities. Know that you can give an accurate psychic reading or an accurate remote viewing target, that you've done target after target after target, and you test your accuracy. I wouldn't delve into trying to do missing person cases unless your accuracy was strong enough to provide information, because you can't piss around with police.
Yeah.
It costs upwards of up to $40,000 for a search team to go out there and be organized and actually search, right? So you need to be right, or mostly right. Right.
Mhm.
So I would say develop your abilities first before even trying to do remote viewing on missing persons, because that's severe. It's severe if you're wrong. It's
Mhm.
scary if you're wrong, right? But when you're right, it is the most rewarding feeling in the world. Like I've been working on a couple historical crimes right now here up in Canada, and I just think to
Mhm.
myself, how amazing that would be if these people are found. The one's been missing
Yeah.
for years, to be able to bring closure to the family. So, but all we can do is try, right, and provide the information that we see, and trust that what we see is correct, that it was shown to us for a reason.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. How do you see like the future of remote viewing? Like for me, I would love it for it to really become very, because you don't really find a lot on YouTube or anything like that, or they're just part of a forum. But what do you see remote viewing in the future, and where would you like it to go, like the direction of remote viewing?
I think that every police officer, every doctor, nurse, I think that all of them, every first responder should know remote viewing, and should also take Reiki. I think all doctors and nurses should really have a Reiki healing modality behind their belt, because it ups the ante when you do, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I think if I was to dream a little dream on where remote viewing would be used, it's in law enforcement,
I
military. I think that every single one of us has this ability. It's just who knows about it and who's trying and who's actively practicing, right? Not that many people know about it.
Yeah, I agree. What was your favorite remote viewing? Like, what was your ultimate favorite that you ever did? Like session, besides the missing cases, or it could be the missing cases, but
Um, Probably, well, it was in a psychic reading. It was that lady winning the lottery. That was, oh my God, really cool. Oh, I've got one for you. And this is actually going to be on George Norrie. This was part of the interview.
Mhm.
So this girl walks into my office. She came to me for a regular reading. She didn't come to me because her dad was missing or anything like that. She came to me to find out about a guy she had just met, and she was thinking of moving to Saskatchewan. So she came to me for a reading. Well, when she sat down, her father came through, and
Oh,
um, and she's like, "Well, my father's alive." And I said, "No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He's not." I said, "He's missing and he's passed." And her jaw was on the floor, and she goes, "As a matter of fact, I haven't talked to him in about 4 years." She goes, "I'm going to
oh,
have to go home and check this out." And because he was the type of dad that was in and out throughout her whole life, and he would disappear for a couple of years at a time and then pop on in for 6 months, play Father of the Year. So she goes home to find out her father was missing.
oh,
And
wow.
he was found exactly where I told her that he was going to be found. So the point of
Nobody
that,
missing?
she didn't know he was even missing when she came in for a reading. She had no idea.
What about his family? Did nobody just knew they just thought he disappeared, or they just didn't know?
They just thought they hadn't heard from him in a while.
Wow.
What was interesting was after the reading, she goes home to find out her aunt had actually handed in, like had contacted the police and filed a missing person report because her parents were divorced. But she didn't even know her dad had been reported missing until after she went home and started asking the family. And unfortunately, he was found in Vancouver, in BC, where I said he was, and right down to the timeline. I told her April 2020 is when he'll be found, and she came to see me in October of 2019. So she actually agreed to go on George Norrie and talk about that, and talk about how, yeah, I just came in, to talk about a guy, and here's this psychic telling me, oh, by the way, your dad is missing. He commits suicide, and he'll be found in Vancouver in April 2020.
Oh,
And
wow.
so to me, it's like, I don't know, you can't get more real than that. She came to me for a reading, a life reading. So that was probably one of the coolest remote viewing things that I did. Because she had to go home and get that verified.
Yeah.
validated. And then sure enough, yeah, he was found where I said. So that one was definitely unique. If I ever write a book, that would be in there.
The reward of just finding someone and helping someone is just,
yeah,
you just feel it.
It is. It's overwhelming. I remember the very first one that I found, besides the first one that I found for Find Me, it actually brought me to tears because I saw it so clear, so amazingly clear. And I couldn't believe it was exactly like he was wearing the camouflage pants and everything, just like I described. And so, yeah, it gets kind of surreal when you realize that you can actually do this stuff. It does.
Have you had trouble where bodies were being moved or anything like that when you did the missing cases or?
No, I mean, I've had bodies in water. One of, so where is it? I have an RCMP recommendation.
Line on YouTube, and if there was something that happened to the person and then somebody's watching it, like usually the body can be moved or things like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, in my experience, I haven't had that happen in any of my cases. But the only time where a body was moving and I had to find a moving body was in a river.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, usually, and I mean, you can feel it too when they're in water versus on land, or if they're, oh, I froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, what a terrible thing to freeze. Maybe we should cut that part out.
Yeah, trust me.
That's funny. But anyways, yeah, no, you can feel the difference when where a body is.
Okay. Yeah, you're still a little bit, you're still frozen a little bit, but hopefully it'll come back. But I wanted to say, I loved having you on my YouTube channel, and thank you so much for coming on. Is there any, as well as, do you do any kind of readings, or is there certain readings you only do? But I just want to make sure if people want to get a reading, or I get a lot of people who they're missing families. So I'm not doing private readings at the moment, but if you are, do you do any kind of readings or just missing cases, or you're open to anything?
No, actually right now I'm not taking any more missing person cases because my plate is full at the moment, big time. But I do readings for people in my office, and I do them over Zoom or online in case they can't make it in Calgary. But yeah, I do psychic readings. I teach meditation, psychic development, all of that stuff. And a lot of it is online right now.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you would like my viewers or any viewers, subscribers to know about you? And also anything, like I said, I know you're going to be posting more on your YouTube channel. So like I said before, I would love for you to come by again and maybe do some remote viewing or whatever you want to talk about or anything like that. But I just wanted to know, I know it's a hard time right now, what we're dealing with. Do you have any kind of just a message to anyone, for people who are coping, or anything they can do, or, just to always, vibrate on a high frequency and trying to avoid, there you go, there you are. A message to, the subscribers, viewers, because I know it's a really hard time now. What can they do to just keep, vibrating in a high frequency, not, going into so much negativity, or not having, loss of faith or hope, So
mindfulness, be very, very mindful at this time. Guard your consciousness, because there is a spiritual war that's happening right now. And the number one way negativity can mess with us is when it gets inside of our head and doesn't shut up. So mindfulness, staying completely in the now. I heard a saying that kind of sums it up, and it says, depressed people live in the past, anxious people live in the future, peaceful people live in the present. So stay as present as you can and breathe your way through this, and know that tomorrow will be better. So we are facing a better tomorrow. We just got to get through the distorted, yucky stuff first.
Wow. Thank you so much, Patricia. I had so much fun. And thank you so much again for coming on my YouTube channel. And I wish you the best. Like I said, I am a big fan of your work. You're going to see a lot of me on your channel, also my viewers and subscribers. So I'm going to leave your, like I said, your website and your YouTube channel on the description box. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was awesome. God bless.
You too. Bye.